Good, good afternoon, and welcome to In Person with Percy today. Today we do have a special guest on the phone with us, and we also have the executive director of KidNet, Meg Blinkavich, and we have a junior from Lori North State in Lipsy. If you two just want to take time to introduce yourself, and then we'll get started. After that, either one can go first.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So, hey, my name is Jaden Lipsy. I'm a junior at Lloyd Norris. As most of you know, I am a very good upcoming rapper. I play basketball at Lloyd Norris, and I've been friends with Percy since we were both about freshmen, probably like 14, 15.
15 years old, and I'll tell you, Jaden, if you can recall, I was just this little irritated, bad little boy.
Yes, sir.
Just this little bad little usual freshman duties that we will say. Um, so yeah, I do want to thank you for coming on, and I talked to Jaden, and I was like, "Hey, can you come on?" He was like, "Yeah." And then today he was like, "I got to babysit," but I was like, "You can still call in." I was very adamant about having him on here because one thing, Jaden, as I'm listening to his music, it inspires me. Like it it really uplifts my day. Like one song is called "Story of David," and that story of how he's rapping it is just so amazing. If Jaden spit one line on here, and if he could, you'll be like, wow, like. And if you do, feel free to, Jaden.
Yes,
Feel free.
please.
This is what it's for. And like, I just like am inspired about young young black males doing what we have to do. Me being a podcast. I
Yes,
was
sir.
just talking to my friend Cedric in the bathroom, and he was like, we all have something different in our friend group that can make a hometown, I want to be a teacher. We got rappers, we got basketball players, we got all these different majors that we want to do to make Kalamazoo or whatever a town, to make economic system go around and around and keep a dollar, keep that $1 bill in that same cycle for so long. And it amazes me, right? It amazes me. It empowers me, Jaden. And is there anything you want to talk about, Jaden? I know our topics are mental health. Is there anything you want to come up on, Jaden?
I can't really, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I just really appreciate. I just really enjoy that me doing what I like to do can have such an impact on other people. Like
Mm,
I would have never thought I made my first song. So right now I'm only 16 years old. So I made my first song when I was 15, and it's just like I never expected to get as far as I am right now, to be honest. Like right now I have like 200 monthly listeners on Spotify, and I have like 50, 35,000 something plays
And
on Apple Music.
I can tell you, Jaden, probably 13 million of those listens are me because I will play it back
I'm
to
already
back
knowing.
to back
I'm
to
already
back
knowing,
to
Percy.
back to back. Like I would just listen to a song like all day today. Like that's all that's in my playlist because it inspires me. It keeps my day going. And as I was telling Meg in the car, if you don't mind me sharing this, and Jaden, you can, if you gotta go, feel free, just whatever. But I was watching a series this morning, a morning series my brother always put on, and it was this kid that had autism. Well,
Hmm.
she had um a certain type of headphones that needed her that meet that meets her needs. So it was unicorns, right? So it was a unicorn headphone, and the kid the three little girls didn't like it. So they bullied her. They told her that she should throw it away, like this, that, and the third. And she was mad at her mom, like, why do I have to do this? Like, why am I going through this at school? Because I have autism, right? It's not my
Right.
fault that I have to wear these. It's nobody's fault, really. It's just my mental being. She was ashamed of it. She didn't like it. She hated it. It was almost to the point where she wanted to commit suicide. Well, later into this video, her mom had made a YouTube video in the video. And I was just so amazed. Like, it's kind of like a story. Like I was saying, how Jaden makes music, like his song Story of David is like a story of her doing things, well, a story like how she's getting bullied. Okay, step one, she's getting bullied. And then another step is the kids are bullying her. And then step three is, well, I don't want these headphones, mom. What can I do to not have these headphones anymore? And she threw them in the trash. And I was just mind blowing how the mom stepped up and said, for the love of God, teach your kids how to treat one another, right? Treat your kids how to treat one another. Because Jaden, Jaden has known me for 3 years. I have never,
Yeah.
ever, well, even like only if I'm playing around, I have never deliberately bullied
Right. You
somebody.
never like
I've
blatantly, yeah.
never deliberately, because I've been through it myself. I've been through it. I've been called autistic. I've been called slow. I've been called all types of stuff. I've been asked if I have MS. Like just today at my internship, like, do you have Tourette's? Like from a little kid. Like so just knowing that these little kids are coming up knowing that these diseases are around, and if you see somebody different, like shaking or whatever you got to, whatever you have, each person has a problem. That I look at it, each person have mental problems. All people have mental problems, but
Yeah, for sure.
one thing we cannot do is have people bullying and have people committing suicide. That brings into our mental health topic on this podcast, on my podcast,
Bullying is a mental problem in itself.
a mental
Because
statement.
like,
Bullying is one of the biggest problems in the schools. That's
I
one
mean,
of,
like if you feel the need to bully somebody, then you clearly have a mental health issue yourself.
yes. That and that's valid for somebody to say. Like that's I that's an opinion. That's a very common opinion that a lot of people say. Like my teachers tell me all the time, if you don't have nothing that's nice to say, don't say it at all. Because I don't I don't want to hear it like you bullying somebody about how they were made. Like you're not God, you didn't create them. You God has a plan for everybody, right? So back to this story, his her mom made a video or whatever and whatnot, just saying that her kid can wear whatever she wants. And so later into the video in the school, what really made my day, and I told my mom I was having a great day. Like I'm just in a such great mood. Like I did everything I was supposed to. Like because like at the end of the video, like the kids start wearing unicorns, getting unicorn headphones, normalizing what people need, like normalizing the fact that she has autism and it's okay, right? It's okay to have them unicorns. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? So just
Yeah.
a lot of different factors in there, and I'm doing a lot of topic talking, but believe me, you guys can feed in too. Jaden, if you don't mind me asking you this question, what made you start like just like rapping? Like I'm gonna do it. Like
So I hear that all the time. And to be honest, like I could never I don't really know a great way to explain it, but this is probably from my perspective, because like I personally don't even know myself. So like that's why it's kind of hard to explain it. But I always my whole life I always kind of look for a way to like almost kind of like it wasn't particularly fit in, but something like that, something along the lines of fitting in.
Mm.
So it's
Mm.
just like I have I have a lot of like smaller talents and I have a lot of bigger talents. Like I'm really good with electronics and whatnot, but it's just like how is how is being good with electronics gonna make me fit in unless I'm like an engineer, which I would have to be obviously a little bit more older for that to occur. So it's
Right.
just like I was just like everybody likes music. Like you can't ask a person
Mm.
like you never talk to a person that was just like I don't listen to music. Like
Mm.
no matter what genre, no matter what like some like you listen to music.
Mm.
So it's just like this is what I can do to be like I don't know. Like at a young especially at a young age, I definitely look for like what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word where I look for like I cannot think of it. Just to be kind of accepted almost.
Like
So it's
validation?
just like yeah, validation. That is exactly the word. I look for validation from a lot of people because mind you, I mean I kind of rapped a little bit since I was like just double digits in age, so like
Yeah,
around 9, 10 ish.
I remember when. If you don't remember, I remember we had what hour was it? I think it was fifth hour, and you was
Yeah,
rapping, Jaden. Like I don't know if you remember, but you used to always be rapping, like just bobbing your head side to side, and I was like, "What is he doing?" Before I met you, like I used to be like,
yeah,
"Why is he always like he's a lunatic? Like why is he like?" Always doing this and like just getting to know you like during the quarantine, like hearing your music, I'm like, what? That's what he was doing.
Mm.
Like
because
everybody.
like I used to always so like I said, I was kind of very young when I found out I could rap in general,
Mm.
but I was just like, what are people gonna think? Like I said, it was kind of like a validation thing, so I didn't want to be like, look guys, I can do this, and nobody liked it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I was very slow about it, and then eventually I was just like, I might just try something. Like, well, we just gonna see what happens because you can't just be scared of stuff your whole life for real. Like
Mm. Mm.
you can't experience new things and you can't succeed if you don't fail first.
one thing
So I
i'm
was just like, you can keep going.
One thing I always hear from you, Jaden, no matter if we're talking or I'm walking past you, I don't never walk past Jaden without saying what's up. But one thing I always hear from you is try new things. It's
Mm.
never enough. It's it never hurts to try something new, right? It never
For sure.
it step outside that barrier, break that box. Like my pastor was saying yesterday, I'm going to break through that barrier. No matter how hard it takes me, how hard it how hard it does, I'm gonna break through the box. Like when I got hit by a car, for instance, I thought like at that moment I was like I give up. Like my life been too rough. Like and I broke through that box. I
Mm.
broke through
Right.
that box. Like I woke up one day like what? Why would I quit? Like it's it's not worth to
And it
take.
takes time, but that's all you can do.
Yeah, like going to counseling, using my resources, talking to my friends, using Meg as a resource. Is there anything, Meg, you want to say, Meg? Like,
I I'm learning from the conversation, and you kind of touched on a curiosity I had, which you've talked about your journey, right, to be resilient, to get back up, right.
Yeah.
What can we do in the youth development field, after school programs, summer programs, to better support young people when the world might knock y'all down?
Um, that's a great question. So, mm,
Just have more, and you've heard it from me, have more resources, like more programs based on what we want to do,
Mm-hmm.
not the basic homework rec, go home. Based
one
on,
thing that I learned, like from my experiences, not particularly with counseling, but just anybody that's trying to help in general, stop giving solutions before you know the problem,
Mm.
mm,
Mm.
yeah,
because that's that's actually like, especially from, especially like when you have worried parents. Like, of course, for at least for most of us, I can't speak for everyone, but most of us who have the parents that are worrisome and protective and etc.
oh yeah, my mom like,
This is like, hey, I know how it is, Percy.
yeah,
But
we,
it's
you,
like those parents that they try to give you a solution before you. I don't really have this experience because I tend to stay to myself with most things. Like if I really have a problem, like I just make a song about it to be honest.
Mm.
But I don't really have this problem, but I know a lot of people that do that have parents that try to give them solutions before they know anything about what's wrong. And then it's just like they're giving more, they're almost talking more than they're listening in a sense,
Mm.
mm, yeah,
which
and
is which is always going to be a parent, especially a parent's first response, because it's just like they're the parent, you're the kid, so it's just like you know how that is.
Mm.
yeah, I mean, that's a great that's a great um example. Like, don't jump right to the conclusion. What can we do to help? Like, maybe there's nothing you can do to help.
Mhm.
Maybe I have to live with this for the rest of my life. But when I ask for help, that's when I want help. Not just, oh,
Right.
he automatically needs help. Like, people think that, like, I have my head down in class, like, do you need help? When I ask for help, I need help. Like, I don't need your help.
For
Like,
sure.
not to be rude, but it's just like, maybe I'm just not feeling it today.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't want to be here
I feel
today.
like school puts a lot of pressure on us. Like not even just not even in a work sense, like, oh, there's a lot of work to do. It's like I literally have to you have to give 7 days a week to school if you want to do
Mhm.
decent in school. Like
Mhm.
I have to wake up early 5 days a week or my parents can get in trouble. And then
Mm.
after that, when I finally get my quote unquote break,
Mm.
which mind you, some kids have jobs and, other stuff that they need or want to do because we are 16, 17-year-old children. It's just, I feel like school takes up entirely too much of your time
Mm.
for me to be able to. I've learned more than I've ever learned from school, like ever.
Mm. Can can you
Just
can you talk a little more about that?
so it's just like the things that I learn in school are not teaching life lessons that I've just learned from own personal experience. Like last summer I had like last summer I had a lot of altercations with like I had a lot of problems to be honest. I got in trouble with the cops. I didn't It was just all types of stuff. I got my first job, etc.
Mm.
And it's just like I just learned so much over that time period that I could have never learned from school ever.
Mm.
It's just
Just
It's
be,
actually incredible to me because
just,
all the time and
sorry.
hours that I put towards school throughout my whole life, because me and Percy are both juniors now, so we've been in school for like 11, 12 years probably, so around there. And it's just the amount that you can learn in a month with no school is probably equivalent to like 5 years of school.
Mm.
Mm.
Like
Th-
it's just,
That's just
and I don't understand it.
just being a black man in society today does not school does not teach us how to be a black man.
Mm.
Like, and people say you need to
School
learn
doesn't
that.
teach you to grow up at all.
Yeah,
Not
how,
even just for a black man. It doesn't teach. It doesn't teach you how to be a grown up.
yeah,
It teaches you to like. The only thing I've learned how to do in school is pass, and
Mm.
I never learned
and not
out of
even
all the subjects I took. So you got 5 classes, right? In middle school is six. So you have I'm not even gonna count elementary. You got 3 classes, or what was it? You got 6 classes in middle school for 3 years for like a trimester each. So 18 times three, that's X amount of classes, and then you got 5 hours now for 4 years
25.
with 3 trimesters.
Mm.
That's if you put all those together,
Mm.
I've learned zero of any of those subjects, at least completely. I might have learned a drop out of each. And it's not my fault at all. It's just
No. Mm-mm.
because they give you zero time before you move on to the next topic of, say I'm learning math. I'll learn I'll learn a certain equation and we'll focus on one equation for 2 days and then we'll move on to the next one. I so limited time. You have limited time to really learn a certain topic in school. And then they give you homework assignments that are most of the time,
Nothing to
like
do
let's
with
be for real.
anything.
Like let's be for real. Those homework assignments are usually busy work.
I, I have
So
a question. Sorry.
what's up? I'm listening.
So I'm thinking about this idea of subjects, right? And
Right.
in the out of
Mhm.
school time sector, we talk a lot about three words: identity, belonging, and agency. And identity is who you are. And we're talking about our racialized identity. Who are you as a young black man? Who is Jake as a young adult white male? Who am I as an older white female, right? What's your identity? How do you create belonging? And then how do you learn how to have agency and influence? So if we think of ourselves as a subject, is what I'm hearing you say you've learned more about yourself as a subject to learn about outside of school?
Yeah. Basically, like,
Yes and no.
Okay.
So that of course you're gonna learn more about yourself on your own time than school. Obviously, that's just a given. But like I feel like I can learn more about math in a real life situation versus
Mm,
like throwing random numbers in front of me in a math class
mm,
and then giving me a set amount of time to figure it out. And then if I don't figure it out in that certain amount of time, then I don't get credit. And if I do figure it out in a certain amount of time, then I do. Because then,
it's sorry.
no, you got it.
It's just what I'm hearing and what I believe is just you don't have time for mistakes. I'm going to
mm,
cut to the chase. You
mm,
don't have time for mistakes in high school. You can't fail a class and
mm,
say, skip it, I quit. You don't have time
And
for
in
that.
real life, and in real life, you have to make mistakes to be successful.
Yes,
In school, if
mm,
you make a mistake, you
mm.
can't be successful.
you get beat down for it. You get
Wow.
beat down. You get beat down. You always get brought up to the past. Like, I'm not going to say his name, but my counselor is always talking about the past. Always saying, well, what can we do to fix the past? Yeah, we have to fix the past. But in order for me to fix the past, I need to continue. I have to continue. I have to keep on moving on to what I want to do to go fix the past. It's just that. Like, so it's just a lot of different barriers for me, as myself, as Percy Gordon. Me myself, like last year was not me. Like, I'm a socialized person. Like, I'm getting way better grades. I'm passing all my classes. Like, and last year, it seems like they put me in harder classes, like on purpose. Like, how, Jaden, that's what I wanted to speak on. How was your experience last year during school?
Um, I personally, I mean, so every aspect of school, no matter what, is always gonna have its pros and cons. But I personally liked waking up in SEL and all that different stuff, like not having, pretty much not having class on Wednesday, waking up later. But the actual class experience was just like, I can't really sit here and, like how you said, you feel like they put you in harder classes. I don't really think that it was anybody's fault. Like, I can't really blame the school system for the situation we were in at all. Because it was just like, they had to do something. We couldn't just be like, okay, there's COVID. We're not doing school at all anymore. Like, they had to do
Right.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was just it wa- and the idea wasn't terrible. The execution was just really poor. So like with the putting you in harder classes, that was kind of just throwing everybody around at last minute because like we went we went virtual like in the middle of the school year. It was like the end of it, but like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like out of nowhere,
like
it was just
right
like
about
virtual,
this time, we went virtual. Like probably about, I think it was March 25th was our last day in
something
person,
like that. Yeah,
and I remember Miss Long telling me don't come back. Like she was like, I won't be back. Like whatever the case may be, I won't be back. Like you can come back, but I won't be back. And if we do have to come back, please wear your mask. Cause like I remember just going back to that time that brought a lot of mental distress, a lot of, and like Jaden said, you can't blame anybody. It's a hard time everybody was going through, and I'm finally coming to realize that. But it's like there was help. There was help. And I'm going to be honest, I was not taking that help sometimes. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do it later, like moving it off to the later. And like, there was some stuff I honestly could not do. And there's some stuff in school I still honestly cannot do. Like, I can't write a paragraph with my hands crimping up. I just can't do it. And they make me do it anyway. Like I can't do it. And sometimes I don't do it. And I get zero credit for it. Like I get a big zero and I'll be like, well, and that's not good enough for me, you know? That's just it's
yeah,
just the way life goes. Like if you can't do something, you'll give up. And if you know me, if I can't do something and I'm trying to work on it, if I can't do something, I'm gonna give up. Like I'm just gonna say, screw it, I hate this. Get it away from me. Like I've been working really hard to like not say like give it up. So just bringing that all in, I do want to be mindful of time. Um, just bringing that in. How can we make this society better? How can we go into schools and be like, I want to be taught how to due to life necessities, because what I'm getting from school when I took a financial class is to spend, 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 spend. Spend money, spend money. It's okay. Like they're not looking at all the different poverty, the all different economic issues people were going into, and I was taking an economics class, and I was hearing all this horrible things about the earth that just made me freak out, and like I just need to spend my money. Like these businesses are getting shut down every day. Like I just want to spend my money and say and just spend my money. So I want to be taught how to um save my money. I want to be taught how to be like like Jaden said, not even just a
and
black
school will
man.
never teach you that,
Yeah,
or
I want
attempt
to
to
be
teach you that.
taught how to be a person in society. Um, just wrapping that
And that's
up.
not even just, it's not even just as like, I know a lot of it, a lot of our conversations, especially as black men, are always going to circulate as something about a black man. But like, it's not even just as a black man. Like, they don't teach anybody life at all. Like, I've never, like, they'll, instead of learning how to like use a credit card and have good credit score, like they rather force me to learn French because that's just way more important, I guess. And I did, like,
Wow.
I never understood anything like that, because it's just like, how, if you think, if KPS thinks, not just KPS but just in general, if my school system thinks that I'm going to use French more than I'm going to use a credit card, they're out of their mind. It's just simple. Like, I don't understand the logic behind a lot of things.
And I'm gonna raise my hand. I failed French. The only word I know is "Je m'appelle Percy." My name is Percy. That's all I know. Like that's literally all I know. Like,
You learned something.
yeah. Hey, I would, if it was in my eyes, I would pass the class because I walked out learning something. But with my credit score, if I was 18 right now, I'd probably be in jail probably because I don't know how to manage credit. Like just seeing my friends get cars, everything.
And
Like,
it's not your fault that they sent you to school for 12 plus years and did never taught you anything like that.
never.
But they expect you to graduate and just know all about it.
Yep. They expect you to think, oh, you graduated from school. You should know how to use a debit card. You never said anything about a debit card. I'm going to be honest with you. All I know is a debit card and a pen, and if it got money on it, it works. That's all I know. I don't know. I know how
Because
to.
how often do you call a pizza place, right, and ask for a delivery? They ask for your card number, and you say MX plus B equals 72. Never. You never heard that.
You
ever.
never. You never do.
How
You
many times do you look at the speed limit sign on the highway and be like, that says MX plus B equals
and got to do an
87?
equation really fast. Like how many
Yeah.
times you got to do that? Why can't they provide drivers training in the schools? Why can't
Exactly.
they provide things that we need in the high school to succeed in life?
They rather teach me how to count my ABCs than show me what the lines mean on the road.
Yep. And they ask, well, why is all these teenagers driving up and down the road 70 miles per hour on the 35? Well, you didn't teach us, but clearly it's clear as day, but to drive 35 on the 35. But it's just
But
like,
this,
it's the
I like,
factor,
it's
right?
just the principle.
Yeah, it's the principle. Like, you need to teach us things that we need to know. Like,
Because it's common sense that 1 + 1 is 2, but they still teach it though, don't they?
right. And it's common sense that you gotta drive one way on the one way, but you never know. Somebody could come that way, right?
Right.
You never know. You gotta be surrounded of awe. My dad let me drive yesterday. Let me
boy.
tell you, it was the biggest mistake. Well, it wasn't because I'm here, right? I'm here. I was driving all over Kalamazoo, and I was like,
You
why?
gotta learn sometime.
I asked my dad. My dad told me something really deep yesterday. I said, why don't they teach what we need in schools? Like, why? What we really need? And he said he doesn't know. Like, and he said that's what he is here for. What he's here for. But I said, you can't do it all, Dad. Like,
Like, you
you're
can't.
here.
Especially you can't teach me everything I need to know when I'm at
Okay,
school
let
for
me
7
break it
hours a
down to
day
you.
and they teach me nothing.
You've been paying for my clothes for 17 years of my life. You've been telling me things 17 years of my life. You've been whooping me 15 years of my life. You've been disciplining me 15 years of life. You can't do it all. You can only do what a dad can do. You're only one person, and all these teachers up here who has their diploma, who has their certificate and things that they need to do are not are not teaching us these things. They're they're hiding behind the bush, and they don't even teach us the full class. It's only 12 weeks, and it's only so many things you can do in 12 weeks. So many activities. Elementary, a little more, okay, because you in that class for the whole year. But in high school, in middle school, if you fail a class, is oh, you failed the class, you gotta do it over again. If I fail that class 75 times, I'm gonna be in that class 75 times.
So,
Hmm.
so what could it look like?
It could look like an
Not
EFE.
not
Mm.
not rushing through a curriculum.
I think high school should start off like college. I honestly think that. I think we would have so many more
A more
graduates.
balanced
So
schedule. You would
many
have way more people that would actually be
we
not
could.
particularly like encouraged, but just way more energy to even think about attending school.
Yep. Let us.
Like the attendance rate is so poor for a variety of reasons, but a lot of it is the very unbalanced schedule and the amount of stress that they throw on a student. Like,
Why? Why? Why are you gonna make me come to school at 7:30 in the morning, knowing that I'm not in the mood? I want. I want everybody to think about that. They should give us a
because
more balanced.
What
what
does it?
can you learn as it's maybe as a grown up and you have a job that requires you to do as a grown up when you have a job that requires you to do the same or similar task every day, then maybe like that makes sense because it's like, okay, I'm doing the same thing every day, like I should know how to do this by now, but I'm learning a new supposedly learning I'm supposed to be learning a new thing every day in class,
Every
no matter
single
what it
day.
is.
And
And
that
there's no way you expect me as a teenage child that typically they have jobs, they have friends, they want to do like, you know, high school student stuff. There's no way you can expect me to go to sleep when I go to sleep and wake up at 7 in the morning and actually learn something. And that's just assuming that they could that they could teach something properly in a regular day, let alone at 7 in the morning where my brain's not even on yet.
nope.
So, talk to me about a balanced schedule. What does that look like?
Let us pick.
Almost
Okay.
almost such as like how Percy was just talking about
Okay.
like in college,
Okay.
where it's almost like say I still had 5 classes. I can have these same 5 classes, but have it doesn't even have to be exactly like college. It can be say we have half days every day, but the day started at like instead of starting at 7 and getting out at like 12, we'll start at like 11 and get out at the regular time. So
Mm.
start at 11 ish and get out at 2:20 and only take two of your classes.
And
It
then
would be so much more efficient that way.
or have like
Your attendance rate would go up, your grades would go up. Every learn You would actually more than likely learn something because you'll have more time in the day to teach something, and you'll just have more people that are actually present. Just because you're present doesn't mean you're actually there.
Mm.
You'll have more people. It would just be way more attentive and
and
way more people actually there to begin with.
and that would
And
take
don't schools get paid for a higher attendance? Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't schools get paid the more people show up?
and 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 it would and I feel like in the school I'm just a check. I'm gonna be real with you. In the schools, I feel like I'm just a check. They're like, oh yay, hi Percy. They really don't feel like that. Like they don't gotta put up with me. They don't have to put up with me. And I'm finally coming to realize that. And I challenge all my teachers every day. I'd be like, are you sure you want me to do that? How about I do it this way? Can I do it that way? I switch it up on them because don't think you can get off of me. Get off of me. Get how much is it per child? I don't know the correct dollar amount, but don't think you can just get off on me. Be like, throw me this work and just be like, ooh, I got a check for him. I just got Lori Noix another check because he graduated out of my class. No, I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna get you. I'm I'm gonna basically make you work for this money. If I'm this money, I'm gonna make you work for it, right? So, um, just being mindful of time for everybody. It was a great conversation. Please go follow Jaden on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, everything. Go follow him. Is it's Lipsy, right?
Yep. So you can follow my Instagram 269.lipsy. I'm gonna have a link tree up there shortly, so it just be the links to literally everything.
Yep. And then just some promos to don't forget about. The youth leadership is coming up. It's an OST program. If Meg wants to talk about it just for a minute.
Sure. So if you are interested in helping us redesign what after school and summer programs look like, let me know. My email is meg, M-E-G, at kydnet.org. We have a $1,500 stipend for you over the next about 6 to 8 months. We would love for you to continue this conversation that we were having about school and have it about what we call the out of school time sector, which is after school and summer. We know we have a lot of work to do to improve learning environments. We're talking about liberation learning and liberatory learning environments and what do those look like. And so we need y'all to help us redesign our learning environments. So if you are interested in that, please send me an email. It is a $1,500 stipend, and we need young people to redesign learning.
So just be mindful of that. We have a lot of summer programs coming up. I do have some plans I still got to get the approval on. Some plans I don't even need approval. And make sure if you do want to talk on this podcast, text me on anything, email me. You know how I get anything, please. There is a stipend for coming on here to talk as well. It's a $50 stipend. Um and so yeah, just thank you for tuning in with In Percy, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you, Lipsy.
Yes, sir. Much love, guys.
Yep,
Appreciate y'all for
much
having me.
love. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep, bye.